Hey there, back doing another movie review again today. I was going to continue on with some holiday theme movies. This one could be considered a Christmas movie since it takes place on Christmas. Also could be considered a black comedy, children's movie, whatever you want to call it. I kind of put it in the Christmas theme, although I won't probably file this under Christmas movies because it's probably kind of just a standalone movie. Well, anyways, continue on with some more reviews, and today I got Steven Spielberg's 1984, The Gremlins. Now, I don't have the sequel to this movie. I know they made a Gremlins 2. I have seen it. I do not own it. It's on the list of things to own. Like I said, Steven Spielberg movie. Now, this edition that I have is the special edition one. This one's got over 10 minutes of never before seen footage, 2 commentaries, director Joe Dante, Zach Galligan, special effects artist, producer. So yeah, this is not directed by Steven Spielberg like I thought it was. It's actually directed by a guy named Joe Dante. This must be produced basically by Steven Spielberg. Yeah, Steven Spielberg production. Written by Chris Columbus, who wrote and directed lots of other movies. Ones that I can think of come to mind: Home Alone movies. The first 2 there. Music done by Jerry Goldsmith, who's done lots of good scores. Yeah, executive producer Steven Spielberg. Starring Zach Galligan as Billy Peltzer. Yeah, it's also got a lot of other characters in here too that you know. Let's see here. Yeah, Hoyt Alton plays Randall Peltzer. John Louis is the Chinese boy. Also got a young Corey Feldman in this movie. Polly Holiday as Ruby Deagle, plays kind of the town rich lady who's a bitch. Phoebe Kate Berenger, plays kind of like Billy Peltzer's love interest in this movie. Yeah, I mean this is a great movie. It's a classic. I don't know too many people that haven't seen Gremlins. Gremlins 2, in my opinion, is just as good. Not quite as good as the first one. It's been a while since I've seen it. But as far as from what I can remember, it's just as good. Yeah, I mean, it all takes place on Christmas. You got this kid, Billy Peltzer, who's kind of a like a shy, kind of a not real outspoken kid. Works at the bank, goes to school, lives with his parents. His dad's an inventor. That's kind of a funny thing. His dad's an inventor, but everything that he invents like works for a little while, and then it like just either explodes or doesn't work, or it's kind of a funny thing in the movie. But his dad's off on a trip for the week or whatever, doing some business, and comes across his shop somewhere, I think in China or some foreign country where he's at, and finds this called Mogwai. Mogwai ends up turning out it's a it's not a gremlin, it's a Mogwai. He takes it home. The guy who he buys it from doesn't really want to sell it to him, so his grandson kind of makes a deal with him and sells it to the guy under the table without his grandpa really knowing about it. Takes him home. gives them to him, his kid Billy, as a present for Christmas, and tells him the rules that he has to abide by to have one of these things. It's not like having a normal pet. Um, can't give it any water. Can't put it in the sunlight. Can't feed it after midnight. And that's pretty much it. Well, of course, the kid, is friends with Corey Feldman, a little bit younger, accidentally dumps some water on him. And as you dump water on this thing, it multiplies. And apparently if you feed it after midnight, they turn into these gremlins, which is basically the same thing as a mogwai, only they basically turn, like, I don't want to say evil, but they're not nice, and they kill people, but it's done in a way that's like, it's a dark comedy, you know what I mean? It's like, they're killing these people, but there's really no blood, nothing. It's kind of a funny horror movie. And really, I think it's kind of the perfect mix of those two. As far, in my opinion, this is one of the best movies I've probably ever seen that's good at mixing the both, with it being a comedy, but it being also scary at the same time. It's one of the best stories I've seen that's got that in it, and that balances it out really well. This was made in 1984, so it was back, when CG wasn't a thing then, really. I think if you were to redo this movie today, they would make all the Gremlins in CG, and in my opinion, it would look stupid. Then it would be unbelievable. All the effects done in here are practical. I'm not sure who does the effects in this movie, but they did a really good job. Sure, I can look it up on here. Yeah, like I said, they did a really good job with the practical effects in this. You couldn't do stuff like this today. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be as good. Let's see. Jerry Goldsmith, TV reporter. Michael Winslow does a Mogwai voice in here for the Gremlins. That's kind of cool. Remember him from the Police Academy movies. The black guy there does the silly voices. Steven Spielberg actually plays a man in an electric wheelchair, uncredited in this movie, which is pretty cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I can't find who did the special effects in this. Yeah, I'm not seeing it offhand. Let's see. This movie win any awards? I can't remember if it did or not. Did $11 million. $11 million was the budget. Opening weekend, it made its money back plus $1 million. So it did 12.5 basically on opening weekend. Grossed 148 million in the U.S. So it was definitely a hit. People definitely got it. You look around this time period of movies and you don't really see any other movies that are like this out there for the time. I do like a lot of scenes in this movie though. I like and I like the characters. I like the fact that Billy is so innocent in this movie. Like he's not like your quintessential like teenager. He's a really like smart boy with a bright future, it seems, and he's a really nice kid. You got a young Corey Feldman in here who just seems like in the 80s he was just in every movie. I mean, The Goonies, Friday the 13th. I mean, the list goes on and on. You know, Gremlins. I know he was supposed to do Friday the 13th Part 5, because he did Part 4, and then he did the Goonies, and then I think, or no, this one was before, so he did Gremlins, then he did Friday the 13th, then he did the Goonies, and he's really went nowhere as an adult. He did a couple of things, but nothing, I don't know. I'm a Corey Feldman fan. I kind of watch some of his stuff on YouTube, but it seems like he kind of lost his fucking mind. It happens like when you do a lot of drugs, I guess. Yeah, it was filmed in California. Released June 1984, so it was released the summer before I was born, which is kind of cool. Yeah, like I said, this got a lot of good scenes in it, a lot of good characters. One of the scenes I really like that's kind of underrated, I think, in this movie is where the lady that Billy is infatuated with, she works at a local bar. You find out through her telling Billy the story about how her father, how she decided one year that she didn't decide it just kind of happened, that she figured out that there was no Santa Claus, and that that she hated Christmas. It was the story of how she told it to him, about how her dad climbed down the chimney and was going to surprise them on Christmas morning, and ended up getting stuck in the chimney and dying, and that kind of ruined her life, after that, as far as looking at Christmas the same way ever again. And the way she told that story was really good, I thought. Just a lot of underrated things in this movie that I think were kind of overlooked. I know this movie is looked at by a lot of people as a really good movie. Most people like Gremlins, but I still think it's underrated a little bit, in the fact that nothing had really ever came out like this before. And then all the imitation movies afterwards that came after, Trolls, other ones, Puppet Masters were out then, I think, and just, I think, kind of an underrated I think, people underrate it just a tad, I don't really think people realize how good of a movie it actually is. Yes, it's about these goofy gremlins. Yes, it's a comedy and a slash like horror movie, but yeah, I mean, most movies don't do this kind of movie this good. It is actually a really good movie. It gets 7.2 on IMDb. It's about fair, I'd say. Yeah, I would say that's pretty fair. But like I said, I don't own the sequel to this movie. The sequel came out, I think, just a year or two later. It wasn't very long. So I don't own it. It's definitely on the list. This is rated PG, which I think is pretty fair. It's, like I said, it's a comedy horror, but it doesn't have any blood in it, really. So it definitely doesn't. I mean, they could have went PG-13 on it, but PG, I think, is good. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to say about this movie. Really ain't much more to be said that hasn't already been said about this movie. I mean, I haven't seen too many reviews on it, but seen a few, and yeah, I wanted to review it because it's one of my favorite Christmas movies. It takes place on Christmas. It's not an actual Christmas movie, but it does take place on Christmas, so I like it as a Christmas movie. That's usually when I end up watching it, is during this time of year. Christmas is about 2 weeks away. And we'll be reviewing a couple other Christmas movies here. Been getting them done kind of slow. Work's been slow, but then it's kind of picked back up. So I don't know. But that's all I got for this movie, and I'll be back with more reviews. Thank you.